Hi everyone, Jama Malmy here, and I'm going to be putting together this layout from the brand new Everyday Moments Cricut collection from Close to My Heart. So this is what the layout looks like when you pull it into Design Space, and notice these dots around the edge. They are actually representing negative space because this layout has a dotted border going around it. And when you click on it, you'll see that it is 11.5 inches wide. And that's because that's the widest you can cut on the Cricut. So it's designed to put in your 12 by 12 paper, and then it will cut a border around it. And so that's kind of how you get around having that border going around your page. So that's pretty cool. I ended up not using it on mine. Over here on the right is how I changed up my layout. I just changed it a little bit, but just knowing that you have that little bit of flexibility with these layouts is awesome, and you could totally transform the layout into a card or something completely different as well. But I just made a few changes, and I took out the title because I'm going to be adding my own. I changed some colors, and then I did change some colors a little bit further, as you'll see once I show you my project on the table. So I've got here the peach center of this flower already, and you can see that against this peach background, it really doesn't show up all that much. So what I decided to do, and I just use this little poker tool to kind of move things around sometimes, is I decided to make all of the centers yellow. So I recut those peach pieces and those flower centers to be yellow, so then all flower centers will be yellow. So just like that. And then this piece right here, which right now I have the peach tucked in here, I decided to cut that as yellow as well to coordinate with everything else that I am doing and kind of bring in that yellow element. So I may or may not keep that yellow, we'll see. But I do like how it's gonna bring the yellow all the way around. So another thing I wanted to point out is I cut these flowers with the same butterfly paper, but I used the back side, which is a smoothie and peach kind of paint splatter look. And so I wanted to use that for the flowers, but I wanted to use this paper as well. So I can do both and have this as my background by just placing the flowers when I cut them strategically so that the photos will cover them, just like that. So you'll never know. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to speed this up, and I hope you enjoy. As I begin putting this together, I want to mention that this is part of the creative design team's video collaboration. So what we've done is everybody has taken this same 12 by 12 layout and put their own spin on it and reimagined, if you will, what this layout can create. So you can create it as is and do all of the colors as the Design Space file suggests and cut all the pieces as designed, and it'll turn out beautiful. Or, as I've tried to show, is you can just make some small changes to the file and make it your own to fit what your title needs to be or what your photos are and what your color scheme is. And then you can also completely change, just use certain elements from the file and make something completely different. So be sure to check out everybody's video. I've got everybody linked below in my description to see what they've each come up with. They are sure to give you some amazing ideas here. So back to my layout, you saw me just adhere everything down. I used a glue pen to glue all of those little pieces into this 3/4 wreath, if you will. And I'm adhering it down to the page. Now you can see there the 2 spots where I cut out those 4 flowers, and they'll be covered up with those photos. And as I put the glue around the photos, I was careful not to put the adhesive where it would go through those holes because I didn't want it sticking to my surface below. And so once those get adhered, I will begin putting the other elements down. I didn't put the adhesive super close to the edge on that right photo because I knew I'd be tucking that yellow piece under, and I did decide to keep that there, and I used it as a spot for, since I didn't put a lot of journaling here, it's going to have the date and the occasion on there. This was at a wedding, so I put the date and whose wedding it was. And then I did the same technique of putting these flower pieces together as I did the wreath part. I used that glue pin and I sort of dabbed the glue pin on instead of dragging or swiping it across the surface. I felt like that just gave it a little bit more glue, but do what you are used to doing and what works for you. You could also use liquid glass or another type of liquid adhesive. Then I stuck those two pieces together and put some foam squares on that whole piece to raise it up and give this page a little bit more dimension. There is a lot of dimension already in this layout, even without the 3D foam, because of all of the different elements that you're sticking in there. Each piece really does give it its own dimension. So these little pieces that I'm gluing down here just add to that. Now I do have the Design Space file up on my computer in front of me that I can refer to, but you don't have to follow exactly where it tells you to put these pieces. You could put them wherever your eye feels that they should go and just scatter them throughout. I just put some Tombow glue on the end of each piece and sort of tucked it underneath another part of the wreath, and I used my poker tool to help me get under in some areas. So I went around the whole wreath and got all of those pieces under. Didn't take a whole lot of time, which, by the way, this whole layout, once it's cut, really doesn't take a whole lot of time to put together. So then I pulled out my new peach shimmer brush, which is a new color, and I squirted a little bit onto an acrylic block, and I'm going to use that to make some splatters on my page. I want them to be very subtle, so another kind of tone on tone look. And I just used some scrap paper underneath each corner and to cover the photos so that I didn't get splatter on the photos. And this adds a nice dark peach and some shimmer in the corners of this layout that looks really lovely in person. It's hard to catch that shine in the camera. And then once I cleaned that off, it was super easy. I decided that, I took my Kleenex and just kind of dabbed to get that extra glitter off so nothing would brush off on its own. Sometimes if you wipe that shimmer pen, if there's excess on there, it'll come off on your fingers. So I was just trying to eliminate some of that. Then I added some gems. I've got some white enamel gems, some gold glitter gems, and I think a couple of regular sparkles. I had just a couple left in my stash that I used up, and just scattered them throughout where I thought they looked good around the layout. Then I added the title off camera. Sorry I didn't catch that on camera, but I had some gold glitter thickers that I added, which added some more dimension, as well as some wooden veneer shapes that I had in my stash. So those finished off the detail of this layout nicely, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. I'm sure you're going to love all of the other design team members' projects as well, so be sure to check out their projects in the links below. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope that you will subscribe to my channel and be sure to hit that notification bell to get notified when I post new videos. Thanks for watching and have a great day.